Now, there are some important anthropological implications behind this, because if God is the creator, if God is the source of all being in the universe, and humans are contingent, then we recognize several different ideas that John Sachs lays out very, very well. He talks about, for example, how it is God's power that forms and sustains life. So, once again, all life, all living matter in the world and perhaps beyond this world is actually formed and sustained by this one being who we call God. If that is true, then the next point that I have indicated there on the PowerPoint slide is true, that the world receives its entire being and constitutive identity from God. There is an ancient doctrine that is known as creatio ex nihilo in Latin, which simply means creation out of nothing. And what that says is that there was nothing until God chose to create it. Therefore, there is nothing that is somehow in existence that does not owe its existence to God. So every single being, once again, is constituted by the very reality of God. You could say that it comes from the mind and the heart of God. Now, my next bullet point there becomes important. If that is true, then there can be nothing in created reality that can somehow constitute a principle of separation. All reality somehow connects itself back to its creator, back to the reality that we call God. And if this is the case, then the world and all that is in it is fundamentally good. This is not to say that there is not evil. It does not deny that, and that is its own problem that we can look at separately. But we start out from a position where we recognize that all of created reality coming from God, somehow coming from the very power of God, that God not only forms it but also sustains it, keeps it in existence, means that everything is fundamentally good because God is the source of all goodness. That is against a movement that was pervasive in early Christianity called the Gnostic movements. And various Gnostic movements arose that had a variety of characteristics, but one of the chief characteristics of all Gnostic movements was that they had a very negative view towards the material world. They believed that in order to truly, let's say, transcend our material world so that we can be one with God meant that we had to somehow separate ourselves from the world, that we needed to look at worldly reality and call it bad, call it evil, call it a principle of separation from God. This is something that the Christian community from its outset built a broad consensus around to reject, to say that no, God as the source of all being, God who is one, from whom all things come, that this good God created everything good. Therefore, every person, every plant, every animal, every rock and stone is somehow fundamentally good. That has some profound implications for how we engage in the world.